A&B Properties is Quincy's largest apartment rental company with hundreds of units available. They offer short-term and long-term rentals with 1 up to 4 bedroom apartments. A&B Properties meets the needs of its tenants with care, compassion, and a quality of service that exceeds expectations. A&B Properties also has a convenient tenant app for you to do your payments or make repair requests. Give them a call today. A&B Properties, 217-919-8080, Quincy.
We're hanging out.
That's right.
We're hanging out. So my guest today is this man, and we were talking about last names. And so nobody can really pronounce my last name very well. I told you in the green room.
Right.
It's Murphy Giesing, but I get Murphy Giesing or jerk off face or just something very rude that people like to call me. And how we were talking about Sonethongkham. Am I saying it close?
Pretty close, yeah.
Tell me.
Sonethongkham.
Sonethongkham.
Just 3 syllables.
Okay, well, that's really easy.
Yeah, pretty
So
easy.
why do people trying to make it difficult?
It's the E that throws everybody off.
So also in the green room, I was talking about how the very first time I met you, or the very first time that I saw you, when I was, we were talking about Chad Ludwig, we were talking about Carl Vemberlo.
Right.
We were dropping names, and now we're doing it again.
That's correct.
Because now this is for the people, so they can hear. We were talking about Dirk Bonebreak.
Right.
We were talking about lots of just either mutual friends that we have or just people. We were talking about, so I want to review this. The very first time that I saw you, it was either high school or after high school and college, and every time that you were walking someplace, either to the Abbey, Spring Street, you always had this entourage of people around you. You're a magnetic person. I'm going to give you an award.
Oh, shit.
Okay. I'm gonna give you an award right now.
Okay.
And I did not warn you about this. You get, and I'm not talking badly about any of our mutual friends and our wives and any of our super awesome people we know, but I'm giving you the Best Personality in Quincy award.
Oh, geez.
Best Personality in Quincy.
That's an honor.
I'm not taking away from anybody else. I'm just saying, like, I think that if somebody had to ask me, who do you think is the easiest, most fun, most electric, high energy, positive person? You.
Well, thanks.
And that's it's one of the reasons why you're on the pod. And I also told you how Rachel was saying how we got to get you on.
Well, thanks, Rachel.
So so that's the very first time I ever saw you was we're talking middle 90s, and then I met you for real in 2008. We can talk about that in a second. But so this is a state your name, state your business. You know, talk about some of the things that you do.
Well, we own one event venue now. It used to be a restaurant and bar. And I know a lot of people were wondering what the real name is. And I also sell insurance with One Insurance Group.
And it's called One Insurance Group.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay. So you owning that building, you owning multiple businesses in the building.
Correct.
Right now, your lovely wife, Tennille, that I like very much.
Yes.
Is she in that building?
She is, and she works for Cross Country Mortgage. She's a loan officer and the branch manager. So.
Okay, so she's with Cross Country,
Correct.
And you're with One
Insurance Group.
One Insurance Group.
Correct.
Okay, that's a pretty good name.
That's right.
Why did you call it One way back in the day?
You know, back in the day when we were trying to figure out a name, something neutral, we were trying to figure out. It was just it took a long time to get the name, but we're like, let's just put everything into one, and there you go.
Easy.
Yeah. So we just decided on One, and Tennille says One is also a part of our last name, SONE, without the S.
Oh,
so
yeah.
She's like, oh, that's kind of catchy.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when you opened, and then this is when I met you for real, when we actually had the face-to-face. I remember, I think was TriPoint Paradox playing? I'm not sure. You had a really big band going on, and I was trying to get your attention, and you were walking around, and you and I don't think we knew each other yet. I may have the date wrong on this, or the general year, but I remember I had a friend in town, and we were watching some kind of band you had at One, and he was in the mortgage business, and I'm like, I'm trying to talk to this guy, and he keeps on walking around, and now he's behind the bar. He does mortgages, by the way. And my friend goes, oh, that's cool. Like, and he goes, well, so he's also moonlighting as the bartender. I'm like, well, he owns this place too. So it's just one of those things where sometimes you would just jump in and work because that's what you and your wife have been doing.
Yep, we were pretty hands-on.
You guys are hustlers.
Yes, it was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. We had a blast.
I overheard you talking to Bob Goff about golf.
Yes.
And did you say, am I allowed to say what you said your handicap was?
Oh.
Or should I stay away from that?
Well, it ranges between a 3 and a 6, but right now I think I'm a 4.3, and that's thanks to Adam Pfeiffer.
Okay, right.
And the rest of the guys we play with. So
over at Spring Lake?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's pretty fun.
So if I was to, oh boy, here, you want some controversy?
Go ahead.
If I was to try to figure out if I should belong to Spring Lake Country Club or Quincy Country Club, which, by the way, I like both.
Right.
I go play at both. When somebody asks me, when somebody is willing to take on like a 50 handicap type of situation, because I'm a wrestler, soccer player, and I want to be able to play golf.
Correct.
So,
how do you choose?
How do you choose?
Well, it depends. Depends on how much you play. Like I belonged at both at one point in my life, and I was at Spring Lake, and I went to QCC for about 4 years. Then I went back to Spring Lake, and the reason why is because I play 200 rounds a year, and if you take $20 on cart fees and multiply that by 200, it's quite a bit. So that was why I went back to Spring Lake.
Whoa. Okay. $20 on car fees. Yeah. So 200 rounds.
Yes, sir.
Is that 18?
Yes.
Do you always play 18?
I do.
So is it weird that I only play 9 because I don't have a lot of time?
It's not.
Okay.
We expect you have little kids.
That's the excuse I want to use.
That's
correct. I'm trying to stay happily married,
Now,
trying to take care of kids.
Now, when my kids were that little and it was my turn to watch, I would take them with me on the golf cart, and they had a blast.
Do they play?
They do.
Do they like it?
No. I wish they did.
Now, which one of your kids is the chess master guy?
That is the youngest Brooks. He's pretty good.
Okay. So, I mean, he's really good, isn't he?
Yes, he's really good.
Like, does he have any accolades? Because I think he does.
I'm not sure. He's pretty private, but he's pretty good. Once he beat me, I just stopped playing him.
I mean, so we were at, oh man, gosh. I think we were at a party, and Brooks came by. And quite honestly, I think it was at Chris Kuchar's old house, maybe. Came by for maybe a birthday party or something. I don't know. We just walked in.
Right.
We both just walked in. I was there for a few minutes. You were there for a few minutes because we bounced in and out of places.
That's correct.
And Brooks was talking to me about chess, and he asked me what my chess rating was. There's a name. For, what is it called when you have a...
Oh.
I'll have to Google it.
Yeah, me too. I can't remember.
Anyway, there's some kind of... Everybody starts at 400.
Right.
Or something like that, and you can get worse.
Yep.
Maybe. Can it go below 400?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm not sure how it works, but...
So when you're
pretty
terrible,
good.
you're at 400?
I think so.
Okay. I think he told me he was at 1,200.
Right.
That's a really high score.
I think so. I don't know what the Grand Master is, but...
So can I tell you something kind of funny that Brooks said?
What?
We were sitting there at this party, and he's seems to be a very, very good-natured person. And he goes, do you play chess? I'm like, I'm not very good. He goes, that's because you're dumb. I'm not even kidding you.
That sounds like
he looks
him.
He looks right at me. He's like, that's because you're dumb. But he's joking. I mean, he's this much correct. There's a kernel in truth of what he's saying.
Oh, yeah.
So 3 kids, what are their names?
Logan, Bella, and Brooks.
And, so is Bella the
Bella's
artiste, the musician?
singer. Correct.
Yeah, I think I've heard her sing over
Yes.
at one. Beautiful
Yes.
voice.
Absolutely.
Is Logan the oldest?
Logan is the oldest.
So Bella's the middle child?
That's correct.
Does she act like a middle child?
Yes, I would say.
Does Brooks act like the baby of the group?
He does.
So all the birth order stuff is pretty much on point. A
Yeah,
little bit
they're on cue.
here and there.
Yep.
So what do you think about? Did you hear the news last night?
No.
There was a hearing right down the street here, right across the street from you is a bar called Little D's.
Yeah, kind of. I don't pay that much attention.
Okay, well, there's a bar across the street. There's a bar across the street from you.
That's funny.
And I have not been in there, but they're applying for a nightclub license. And the guy who owns it, his name is Michael, very nice guy. Every time I come into contact with this guy, super nice. Speaking of good voices,
right.
He's kind of a karaoke master.
Correct. Yep.
He does lots of things. He's a hustler. He works very hard.
He does.
And any time that I've come into contact with him, just been really positive.
Yes.
I think they had a hearing last night. Well, I'm sure there was a hearing last night, and I know that it went to, I think the nightclub license got denied. What is your opinion on being a nightclub downtown Quincy in the district? Because there have been nightclubs before, and there's pros and cons to them depending on how they're run.
Correct. It's to each its own. I don't really know what the details are of getting accepted or declined. But if you run a clean business, I feel like, why not?
So are you pretty libertarian?
I would say, I'm pro-choice. I mean, for example,
Talking about business?
yeah, business-wise.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel if someone wants to put the hard work into owning and running a business, I feel they should have the opportunity to.
Yeah. And I think, I saw some pictures on some social media recently. One is still doing events.
Correct.
And one has always been doing events ever since she opened. You
Correct.
guys have been doing events nonstop.
Correct.
So the scope of how one has manifested due to market conditions, Quincy conditions, labor market conditions.
Yes.
These all play a massive role.
Yes, they do. Yes.
But a lot of people who don't understand all of the ins and outs of downtown Quincy businesses, they'll say, oh, this place is closed, this place is open. One has been open the whole time and been doing really good events. Do you think, how difficult is it to run an actual restaurant, club, bar, full scale? You guys did it all.
We
You
did.
guys went.
We did.
Huge.
We did. It's extremely difficult. One, it's the staffing. Getting people to show up is the hardest part of any business. I'll be honest, if we had the staff, we'd still be open. But it just got to the point where, sometimes we'd send out 300 W-2s at the end of the year. That's how much turnover there is.
So 300 W-2s, how many people were actually employed in a given year? Like, well, per shift or whatever, or per night?
Per shift, I'd say normally somewhere around 50 is how many employees we had that we needed. Some people can only work 2 nights a week. Some can work every day. Some can work one shift. But to mix and match and puzzle piece together the schedule, that's the toughest part of getting people to show up.
I mean, you guys have that stuff dialed in. You guys would have, I think you paid someone to walk around and just pick up garbage all night long.
Correct.
I mean, you had it really, really dialed in.
Correct.
And do you think that Quincy just doesn't have the labor market to sustain that kind of operation?
It's tough. I mean, that was pre-COVID. I couldn't even imagine being open after COVID. I mean, we were struggling getting help before COVID. So I can't say what the magic formula is on that, but it was really hard.
What do you think the problem is, generally speaking?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Don't you think that's
Don't you
think that's interesting?
Huge. Yeah, if I could figure it out, we'd still be open, full scale.
Well, I mean, even if we figure it out, it doesn't mean we can solve it.
That's correct.
So, man, I take a look at. So I'm Gen X.
Yes.
Do you consider yourself to be Gen X?
Not sure where I fit in.
Whoa, really? Okay, are you saying you're at the tail end of Boomer?
Could be somewhere in between there, somewhere. But
Well, look at you.
Yeah.
You're taking like anti-aging pills or something. You're doing something.
That's right.
Is it your high energy?
It might be. Yep.
But no, I'm a little worried about this job market.
It is.
Thing. I mean, it doesn't keep me up at night, but when we're talking about it,
right.
I want to know. I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
What is going on with labor? Supposedly, we're at historic unemployment levels.
Correct.
And we don't need to debate if we believe the government numbers or not. There's all different kinds of U numbers.
Right,
there's
that's right.
U1 through U7, I think. And I think the government uses the U6 number, which is kind of a BS not number. They'll say 3.5% unemployment.
Right.
But that's stripping out people who have given up.
Correct.
That's stripping out people who have just left the workforce because they can't find work.
Right.
So that number's not extremely accurate and not very predictive.
Yeah, that's just not our business either. That's every business. Nobody could find help.
What's going on with the mortgage business these days?
The rates are high. I don't know much about the mortgage business because that's my wife's side.
Okay.
But I know the rates are high, but people still buy houses, though.
Well, then tell me exactly what it is that you do, because maybe I don't have a firm grasp on it.
I sell insurance.
Okay.
Yep, and she does the mortgages.
Okay, so she's doing the mortgages, you do the insurance.
Correct.
So you and your wife go to that gorgeous building, which for those that don't know which building we're talking about the absolutely gorgeous old Adams Theater that has been called one since what approximate year?
2010.
Okay. And so you sell insurance. So do you guys ever, do you see your wife at work every day?
We do. We work in the same office.
Okay. Go to lunch together?
We do. We eat lunch every day still at my dad's house.
Do you get along 100% of the time?
For the most part, yes, we do. We just kind of got used to each other.
just dealing with it?
Yep, pretty much.
So what's the insurance market like then?
The insurance market has hardened. It is very, very difficult right now to move around and shop insurance. It's just in the 25 years I've been selling insurance, I've never seen a company go bankrupt. And right now, several have gone bankrupt. And several have imposed their rules where we don't want new business. So to shop around right now, very difficult.
So tell me if I'm making this up. So I'm trying to figure out if I worked with you, or if you were my boss, or if we worked together in some capacity. I'm trying to think about what it would be like to work with you. Am I making this up? When you went to Nashville a couple weeks ago, was that because Tennille's, your wife Tennille's, did her company invite you to tell me this story? Because I don't know if I heard this. Am I making this up?
No.
She told me, I think on the street, she's like, I'm like, oh, I talked to your husband. I tried to get him to do a podcast a couple weeks ago. She's like, oh no. Oh, he's in Nashville. I'm like, oh, well, that sounds good. She's like, oh yeah, good for him. He goes and meets all of my people. I'm supposed to be going to Nashville, but no, he gets the invite. What is the real story?
So it's funny. I poke fun at her all the time. I actually made a name for myself in a company that I don't even work for. So,
tell me what happened.
Oh, it pisses her off so bad. But they basically, my wife joined Cross Country Mortgage when they were small. I'd say 200 to 500 employees at the time. And now I think there are over 5,000 employees there. But I still get invited into their golf outings and into their conferences. And I don't work for the company. And it's really funny, and it makes her so mad.
She's got to stay here in Quincy, and then you go?
Well, she'll go too, but she's in meetings while I'm out having fun.
Oh, my gosh.
So they made me their honorary CFO, which is the Chief Fun Officer. It's pretty funny.
Chief Fun Officer, yeah, that
it's
makes sense.
pretty funny.
So why are you so fun?
I don't have a clue. I'm just out and about, and I just want to have fun.
Yeah, you're always having fun.
That's correct.
In the green room, you said something that, have some of, Bob served us.
Yes.
Can we say this? Bob served us Reserve Crown. Mm-hmm. Just because he's great and he's fun. Thanks,
Very good, Bob.
So we were talking about you being fun, and I was talking, at the beginning of the pod about how when I first saw you, I just knew that your name was Noi, and everywhere you went, people would just kind of magnetize onto you. But you truly are unbelievably fun, and like a high energy. You told me in the green room that when someone presents to you kind of a negative energy, or if somebody starts making you feel, or just presenting in negative, you walk away.
I do.
Why?
Because I just don't want to be around it. It's one of those things where life's too short. You know, when I was about 25, 26 years old, I woke up one day paralyzed. I couldn't move my legs. And it was one of the weirdest things. Like, I didn't know why, but I just couldn't move my legs. And then towards the end of the day, I couldn't move my arms. And then at the end of the day, I was paralyzed. And all I could remember was laying there in the hospital bed, just thinking, I can hear everything. If you came up and touched me, I can feel it, but I just couldn't talk. And from that point on, I just realized life's too short. You don't need to be around the negativity.
Okay, so you realized that in the moment, but then you kept it?
I kept it. That's
okay,
correct.
That's the thing that makes you different.
That makes me different.
That makes you different. Because I think everybody gets glimpses
right.
of that, or they hear about it academically.
Right.
They'll hear their mother or their father, or they'll read a poem that will give them this flash of light where it's like, oh, you should live your life like that. And you'll agree in the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then they'll lose it.
Yes.
It's like, I kind of compare it to like learning a joke.
Yeah.
Somebody tells you a really funny joke, you laugh your ass off.
That's correct.
And that happens throughout your entire life. You hear jokes all the time. People hear jokes. But how many jokes can the average person tell off the top of their head?
That's correct.
Because they lose it. So
That's
you
right.
held on to this piece. You just don't like to hold on to the negativity, which, by the
No.
way, there's a lot of people that like to hold on to it.
They do.
Makes
Those are
them
the
feel
people,
alive.
you just don't walk away from those people, you run. So,
Interesting.
yeah, don't walk, run.
What is thinking about all the people that raised you?
Yes.
Think about all those people and think about all of your life experiences. Can you think of a piece of advice that somebody gave you that stuck?
You know, my mom, of course. She's probably the most brilliant person you'll ever meet. Everybody in life goes through marriage problems. I don't care if you're the perfect marriage. I don't care if you're the perfect husband, perfect wife. My mom said it really clear. She said, Noi, there's no such thing as two people just alike. Think about your situation. She said, you were born in Asia. Your wife was born in America. Your wife was raised Christian. You were raised Buddhist. How can two people get along? You got to learn how to compromise. And you know what? Changed our marriage. You're never going to agree on everything, but you just got to learn how to pick your battles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you hold on? Did you hold on to that one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you ever feel yourself, maybe not today, maybe not yesterday, but do you ever feel it slip away, or do you hang on to that one tightly?
You hang on to that one.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people give up too easy, nowadays. You just got to stick together, stick it out.
Yeah, so the D word, divorce,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
that's a lot of our mutual friends
Oh,
that
yeah.
like we care about a lot.
Absolutely.
I don't want to say they give up. I don't want to judge those people.
No, I don't like judging either.
No, I'm not judging. Can I tell you about one little thing that
Yeah,
I think
go ahead.
about that? So I remember when I was younger. So I'm going to be 47 in January. And I remember when I was in my 20s.
Right.
And I would see people get divorced and they've got little kids.
Right.
I guess even in my early 30s, I would see people get divorced. They've got kids, like sometimes little kids,
Right.
like sometimes 6-month-olds. They get divorced, or they're going through a divorce. And I judge those people.
Yeah.
I do not judge those people.
No, don't judge.
I do
yeah.
not judge them. I did. I'm talking about years ago, decades ago. I would,
Right.
in my head, I would never treat those people poorly. But in my head, I would think to myself, really?
Yeah.
Really? What's going on that's so bad? You've got a 6-month-old and a 2-year-old. You're going to throw away your entire family? Because why? I want to know the reason. Because it's a terrible reason. Okay.
Not all.
Not all.
That's correct. Don't judge.
No, I'm saying that I no longer judge.
Correct.
I was incorrect for judging. I was wrong. I do not judge.
That's correct.
So me being married, I've got 3 kids. You're married.
Oh, yeah.
3 kids. Oh boy. Now when I see it, all I do is say to them, I'm really sorry. And then it's either a handshake or a hug.
Mm-hmm.
And internally, when I leave, I just think to myself, Frank, you better get good at all the things you need to get good at. You better rise, and you have no idea why this is happening.
Right.
So, I gotta tell you, I do think that Tennille and you are, it looks like the most amazing thing. It really, from an outsider, you have invited me to your home before.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the house that you used to live in.
Right.
So you've moved to Hannibal.
Yep, we did.
You son of a. Moved to Hannibal, and you've invited me multiple times to your new house. I remember walking through the house that you lived in Quincy.
Right.
Gorgeous. Unbelievable. The basement is
a club.
A club. It's a palace. It's a massive theater room down your basement. You got either foosball or a billiards table. It was just a beautiful thing. And I remember talking with you and Tennille. You guys invited me to dinner.
Yes.
And your kids were there.
Yes.
And I think we had spaghetti meatballs.
Maybe.
It was amazing. And I don't remember who cooked. Was it you?
It was me.
It was you?
Spaghetti's my dish.
It was super good.
Correct.
And you've invited me multiple times to come see your new home.
You should.
And my wife listens to all of these podcasts. So Rachel, put it in the calendar to remind me every day to go see Noi and Tennille. So what's your new house like?
It's fun.
Is it as
simple.
fun as the other one?
It's a different kind of fun.
Okay.
It's no neighbors, and it's just wide open, and it's nice to be able to just do what you want without really having any complaints.
Did you mention you had a pool, or did I make that up?
We have a pool, yes, sir.
Okay, so you have a pool, and the Y in Quincy is no longer going to have a pool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
What do you think about that?
That is crazy. As far as I can remember, the Y is the pool. The
Y is the pool.
Yeah.
So so the Y are definitely friends of ours.
Yes.
So I'm in the water treatment business.
Right.
So I can't tell you how many times the Y has called me and asked for chlorine for
Right.
their pool
Right.
or testing or whatever. I've had to go over to their pool multiple times and fix whatever they've got going on. A lot of times for free because it's the Y.
Yeah.
We do charge them for pool chemicals, but not service all the time because trying to keep the fees down.
Yeah, that's correct.
I can't be charging $100 labor fees when people are trying to get membership to the Y. But
That's hard to believe.
that's awful. But this is the kind of stuff that happens
Right.
in life. Just pools shut down.
Yeah, and we don't know why. It could be labor. They may not be able to find help.
How old were you when you moved to the States?
4 years old. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Where'd you move from?
We moved from Laos. Yeah.
Did you move here?
Straight here. Yeah. First Presbyterian Church sponsored us, the whole family. I'm the youngest of 8 kids. So it was a big adoption.
You're the youngest of 8 kids?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much sense in some weird cosmic way that that's where you are in the birth order.
Yeah.
I'm not weird about the birth order and the astrology and all of the
Right.
things that fit together, but it's a conundrum to me. So I talk about it because I'm like, that's neat.
Yeah.
There's some kind of weird pseudo psychological science there involved.
Yeah, there is.
So wait, you're the youngest of 8?
I am. A lot of people don't know that.
Where are the rest of your siblings?
We got 1, 2 in town, 1 outside past Liberty, Fishhook, 1 in Arizona, 1 in St. Louis, and 1 in Minnesota. And 1 passed. My sister passed when she was 38.
Okay.
Yep.
Goodness. So, okay. So do you remember anything?
I can't differentiate between memories and pictures.
Yes.
So it's really hard. I feel like I remember, but I don't know if it's from seeing pictures. But my brothers and sisters knew. They would always say that I was always really prompt with time. I don't know how I kept my time. I didn't have a watch back then, but they said every day at noon I would meet the milkman over in the village. But I was dead on time. Even when I was that age, I'd be running around the village, and at noon, I was home because I knew exactly where to be to get milk.
You told me earlier today, so you called me when you got here to the studio. Bob was running errands, I was running errands, all busted butt to get back here to the studio. And you called me 32 minutes before podcast time. 32 minutes.
Right.
You're 32 minutes early.
Yeah, that's me.
What's up with that? Why are you so early?
I don't know. I don't like being late. I think it's a childhood thing. I was the youngest. If I wasn't there on time, they would leave me behind. And it's just, I think it's been instilled in me, be on time or get left behind. So I'm never late.
I mean, are you legitimately never late?
Never late. Yeah. It's really crazy.
Okay. Does the rest of your family know this too? And is this a problem for them?
No, it's not.
Okay,
It's not.
let's reverse that.
Yeah.
Do you make them, what have you done with your children to instill promptness?
Ooh, yeah, the youngest, he's not very prompt. The other two, they're okay, but if it's me, I'm not late.
What happens if you all have to be somewhere and someone's dragging?
We just wait patiently. That's about all you can do.
So has there ever been a time where the kids made you late?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But you weren't.
I'm not. I'm
But they
prompt.
dragged the whole process down.
Yes.
You know, your kids are going to listen to this and be like, Frankie, we don't need to talk. We don't need to see him. Uninvite him from the Hannibal house.
Yep,
We don't
yep.
need to see him anymore. I'm like ragging on him. I'm not. I think promptness. What do you think the best quality in you is?
That is, I don't know. I couldn't really, nobody likes to really answer that question, but I don't judge. I think it's the best. I just see, I forgive, I forget, I move on. It's probably the best quality. Sometimes, my wife would say, I can't believe that you would talk to that person after what they've done. You know what? I got a short-term memory when it comes to that kind of stuff. I just take people with a grain of salt, forgive, forget, move on.
So I always tell my guests on the pod that they can always say pass if I ask a question that's
Right.
controversial or they don't like.
Right.
So you can say pass. You say
I'm
none of
good.
your business. You can kick me under the table. You
I'm
do
good.
It, you can do it. You can smack me. Are you still Buddhist?
No, I'm Christian.
You are.
Yep.
Do you know much about the Buddhist religion?
I do, but not as much as I probably should.
Okay.
But the one thing I do take away from Buddhism is just respect. Respect your elders, respect nature, and just respect everything. And that's the one thing I think from Buddhism that I keep.
Yeah. So what about your siblings? Any of them?
My older ones are Buddhists, and I'm not sure. It's one of those topics that we just don't really talk.
You don't talk about
Yeah,
it?
we don't talk.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
But I mean, we all practice both, which is hard to believe because you're supposed to choose one or the other.
No.
But I don't see why you can't.
No, you don't. No, you
Yeah, I
don't need to
don't-
choose. So the weird thing about the Abrahamic
Yep.
religions, meaning Christianity, Judaism, Islam, those are all from an ancient text perspective. They kind of all follow
Right.
up to like a certain kind of point,
Yep.
and all the different offsprings kind of come down from there.
Right.
Although Christianity doesn't follow a bloodline, but the Jewish
Right.
cultures and the Muslim cultures do
Right.
follow down, which is really kind of neat. And so with the Buddhism, with Buddhism, Hermann Hesse
Yes.
wrote a book called Siddhartha. I love Hermann Hesse. I read Narcissus and Goldman back in the day, and I've got Siddhartha in my library. And one of the things that I love marrying the religions,
Right.
because I don't think that you have to make this choice because this choice is better, because if you choose this over this because that's a loser,
Right.
I reject that.
Right. I agree.
Just because my God,
Right.
which is the God,
Correct.
the overarching deity, unless there's a polytheistic thing that I'm missing here, which is I'm getting myself in huge trouble here.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get excommunicated from the Catholic Church if I go too far here. But no, so I don't know if you and I have ever talked about this.
No, it's one of those conversations.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah, you
really?
can. Yeah.
Because some people don't like talking
Religion.
Right? Politics. Can't talk about it.
Right.
At the table. We're at the table. But I like this idea of and I had Tyler Myers on the pod a couple weeks ago, and I think I said this where Christians tend to harp on Christ's pain. You know, like the passion. They want to talk about the crucifixion. They want to talk about the nails going through the wrists. They want to talk about the crown of thorns.
Right.
And like sweating blood. They talk about the pain. But they forget about Christ's joy. About how he was a very joyous, high energy person.
Correct.
That very magnetic. And the Buddhists tend to think they forget about the Buddha's pain. They capitalize on the Buddha's happiness.
Correct.
And how the Buddha was so zen.
Correct.
And so super happy. So these juxtaposed religions where they forget about the other side because it's kind of there's a binary situation going on here.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I haven't thought much about that.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
I'm the only person who's
holy
thought
cow.
about it.
Yeah, that's pretty deep, man.
That's pretty deep, right?
Yeah.
So you moved here when you were 4. Is there any part of your being that can remember anything about?
I do. I think I remember Thailand more than I remember Laos because when we escaped Laos, I was only 2.
Escaped?
Yes, we escaped.
Do you have any details about that?
Well, my sister has a book that she wrote. I think it's called Double Blessing, and it talks about the family's escape from Laos. But at that age, I was too young to remember. I remember mainly Thailand at the Air Force Base in Ubon, and craziness over the years. Tennille and I have met several pilots that were stationed there, just random. We met one sitting on the airplane coming back from Las Vegas, and the guy that sat next to us was a pilot. And we started talking, and he goes, yeah. I go, Ubon came up, and I was like, well, we lived in Ubon, in the village right behind the base. And he says, I used to remember this little boy that used to ride a dingo. I go, that was me. Pretty crazy.
What?
Yeah, I was a little boy, and we had a dingo. I used to ride him like a horse, just for fun. And he remembered me. And, years later, we were down at the Lake of the Ozarks golfing. Just got paired up with 2 random guys, and they were both fighter pilots that were retired. And they were stationed in Ubon, and they remembered me too. Pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is the epitome of small world.
It is a small world. Yeah.
So you mentioned, the idea that the memories and the pictures kind of get intertwined. So, these electronic, so if we had pictures on this flat screen right here,
right.
and you could see pictures of, you can download them or upload them to the screen from your phone. You can send them wirelessly, Bluetooth, like drop the pictures in. So we have these in our home,
right?
And my wife is really good at making sure that we take pictures,
right, and
putting them on these electronic devices in the house that sit on coffee tables or on the wall or wherever you decide to put.
Right.
I'm a big believer now. My wife has converted me that go out. Here's a Cyber Monday. It's Tuesday. It's not Monday right now, but. When this publishes, it'll probably Thursday or Friday, where go out and get an electronic, one of those photo albums that anytime you take a cute picture or fun picture, throw it on the wall. That way people can see them. And you can put them all over your house.
Absolutely.
That way you can go up and swipe. So my kids, they will go back and look at all the photos, hundreds.
Right.
Maybe in the thousands at this point. Where they go back and they go, oh yeah, I remember this. I'm like, you were 3 months old. Like you're in diapers. You do not remember this. They're like, no, I really do. I'm like, no, you've seen this picture 1,000 times. And by the way, I don't fight with these kids over this. I let them think whatever they want to think because they're little kids. They don't know anything. They know very little.
Yeah.
But so that's interesting. So you came here and you said First Presbyterian?
First Presbyterian, correct. 24th and Monroe there.
Wow. Do you still go there?
We do ever so often. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
But I bet your family's pretty thankful that
Oh yeah,
they did that.
We're really thankful.
That's
sure.
amazing.
Yep.
So I'm really happy that you came here on this pod.
All right.
Did time go by pretty quickly?
It did. Wow.
And thank you, Bob, for letting us do this again. And I'm sure we'll do it again.
Yeah, we can.
Thanks, buddy.
No, anytime.
Right. See ya.
Yeah.
A&B Properties is Quincy's largest apartment rental company with hundreds of units available. They offer short-term and long-term rentals with 1 up to 4 bedroom apartments. A&B Properties meets the needs of its tenants with care, compassion, and a quality of service that exceeds expectations. A&B Properties also has a convenient tenant app for you to do your payments or make repair requests. Give them a call today. A&B Properties, 217-919-8080, Quincy.